Oh, well, hello there, Susie Meister.
Hi, Sarah.
How are you?
Episode 685. How are you is the question.
We're feeling chilly, which is why I was using my, ladies about to have a cup of tea voice.
Ooh, and you're drinking out of your brain candy mug.
I sure am. I'm just matchy with my microphone and my mug.
Did you see that we finally completed the brain candy puzzle over here?
Oh, it's hard.
It's so hard.
It's super hard. I got it and I was like, oh, maybe I'm going to give it to somebody for Christmas or something. And then I was like, no, I have to do this myself. So I'm waiting for the appropriate weekend when I can dedicate it to puzzle solving. And you did it.
Yeah. And I thought it wouldn't be too hard. It was 250 pieces, and I feel like, I'm a pretty professional puzzler over here, practically.
Pretty professional puzzler.
Practically. But I was not, it was not an easy task.
Struggling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait.
It
It does make me really happy that my little doodles can also work as a brain game. Who would have thought?
Yeah, you guys can get them in our candy store on thebraincandypodcast.com.
Oh, thebraincandypodcast.com. Yeah, I love our merch. I love it so much. I also have on display, maybe you could see them in the background below, the sneakers. This is turning into just an ad for our store, but really it's going through all my favorite things. And this is my podcast, so I can do whatever I want,
yeah,
okay?
That's off.
But in other news, count down, hour countdown, hours.
Yeah.
Until sweet Sarah, Susie embrace.
Reunited. Feeling good. Honest to God, somebody needs to make another song that includes that word. Because
you know what? You're right, because everybody sings it every single time.
Yes.
This could be smart.
You know how it's my goal in life to create a one-hit wonder?
No, but yes. I'll play
Adam
along.
and I talk about it all the time. We always brainstorm
this
ideas.
This is genius.
Well,
if anybody could do it, it's you two.
What made me want to was when I found out how much you can make. I heard Grandma got run over by a reindeer, has profited $11 million.
What? What are we doing this shit for?
I know. What is wrong with us? We have made bad choices.
Singing about turkeys and reindeers.
We could, honestly, I feel like when we go to Denver, maybe we could have a little meeting about it.
A little brainstorming session. I have learned 2 new chords on the ukulele. So
right. We're on our
musical, way. Yeah. We have more options.
I just feel like there's a lot of
this is good for us.
Untapped, song. We need more. We need another birthday song.
Definitely.
We
hate that. There's no Thanksgiving song.
Yeah, we could do a Thanksgiving song. There's not enough Halloween ones.
We could do.
Yeah.
There's not enough.
There's only a
definitely
couple.
Not enough Halloween.
Yeah.
And I still think that the Grinch song should be a Halloween song. But,
That's funny. Yeah, that should really have, a broader appeal during the holidays season.
Yeah. So there's a lot of room. Yes, I totally agree with this.
We'll work
I think
on
Thanksgiving is the way to go. We have, I don't know how many months. I can't do the math.
Mm-hmm.
It's January. I should be able to do the math. 11 more months until game time.
Okay. I want to say before you start teaching us things, we got another donation, Sarah.
Heck yeah, we're going to get drunk.
We got a donation from an amazing, loyal brainiac for many, many years, Tyler.
Oh, thanks, Tyler.
We love. Tyler is so supportive and wonderful and has been around for a long time, stuck by us through thick and thin.
It's the best.
And
thank you so
wants
much.
Us to
and
have
if people
some
are
more.
wondering... Yeah, there we go. If people are wondering why I'm thinking we're going to get drunk when people make a donation, well, it's because we're going to treat ourselves to a little bottle of vino.
Yeah.
So
we're going to have a chinwag in person and have a laugh. And now
we'll take pics. Don't we? And we'll talk all about it.
Thank you, Tyler.
As we always do. And this one is going to be a little bit different because this is the first time we've been meeting up in a while where it hasn't been for a Brain Candy meetup or an event or something. This is just for catching up. And I feel like this is kind of like a make good or do over on Adam's birthday from last year that I had to miss because my mom had her accident and I was just coming back home.
I totally forgot you were supposed to be there for that.
Yeah, and I was supposed to go to our little ski adventure. So now we get to have like a redo on the old ski adventure. One of my favorite parts of this ski adventure that hasn't happened yet is Susie's reluctance to have said ski adventure. And I keep checking in with her and saying like, so, like just making sure like, okay, here's the schedule. Like we don't have to go skiing. And then she's like, I've been trying.
Yeah.
to make it not happen.
I do. I keep saying to Adam and Lincoln, like, are you sure you guys want to do that? Like, we could do other things. And they're like, no, we're sure. And I'm like, guess we're doing that. So
yes, that's what we're doing.
Yeah. Just going to have to suck it up.
Like, you and I can just bebop around the little, resort area. We can hang out or we can, like, go on a run, whatever you want to do.
That's nice. I appreciate that. Thank you. Oh, my gosh. He put it in the same mug as you.
Oh, my God.
I got tea also.
Let's do it. Cheers online. Cheers. Oh, that was very fun. Okay. Yay.
Awesome.
Look at us. Oh, my God. I got so excited. It's little things, guys. It really is the little things. I've realized this.
And I appreciate you saying that because about, like, we can just do whatever. Because sometimes I just like having an out and then I will do the thing, like skiing or whatever.
You have an out.
But I do like knowing it's not forced. It's not required.
No, this is nothing is forced over here. This is like, if you don't want, there are a whole bunch of little shops that like I've always wanted to like look in. Like
I love shops.
We love shop, but like it's ski town, so it's very quaint. Like you're gonna really,
it's like a Hallmark Christmas
movie. It feels like, and then there are all these women who dress up there in what they believe, like they've got, I don't know, some rich, fancy schmancy husband or boyfriend or whatever, or they just make their own money.
Sure.
Who am I to judge?
Yeah. Who am I to judge?
But they come up in these, they like buy these outfits that you can totally tell this is kind of like the same thing I would imagine happens when people go to Texas and they buy a cowboy hat.
Oh my God.
Right. So people go to Aspen and they buy
like the fur muffs and stuff.
Yes,
yeah.
Susie. The boots and they come up with the tights and the and they are so fun to watch. It's my favorite because there's like this serious effort put into not getting the snowy stuff, the stuff designed to be in the snow, like covered in snow.
Totally.
So it's like really funny to watch. And the most inappropriate, like nighttime falls in these ski towns and the choice to wear high heels. Yeah. We saw this one woman the other time we were like last time we were up there, and we saw her a couple of times because you can't miss her. But I was like, that is so brave. I am there. I am like going out on the runs and like doing other brave things during the day. Mm-hmm. But I want to say this hooker, but I don't think I can say it there because there's a chance she actually might be. So then it's like a hooker is like one of those things that you call a woman who's not a hooker, but you can't call a hooker a hooker. That's just rude. She's a sex worker. So
yeah, right.
So this woman, is so brave to walk down the cobblestone, like they're kind of like designed to look. Some of the streets and like where we were like designed to look old timey, and it's snowing. There's ice, like the signs on the road.
That's an AWH.
Say, caution, ice, and she's like, "I'm going to put on my 5-inch pumps. I'm going to put on the heels."
I mean, talk about an adventure.
I know, brave.
Yeah, but absolutely. I don't want any AWHs, period. That's what I think skiing is an AWH.
It is. I think I might if you decide to go, which again, no pressure, whatever. You could do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I am going to try skiing.
Oh, right.
And I'm going to rent some skis as well.
Yeah, okay.
And
Eli said he would try.
I don't own skis.
Wow.
I have not been on a pair of skis since I was like 13 years old.
My gosh, that would be
in my mind, it's one of those things that where in my mind I'm really good.
Oh, I'm sure you are.
Because we were talking about this at the Christmas table with my brothers, about how this is something I want to try, because Eli is annoyingly good. He was on the ski team.
Yes, I've heard.
He's so it's stupid.
Yeah,
he's so fast. I'm like, this is dumb.
I'm thinking about, by the way, now that we're on the subject, of starting a swear jar, but for when you say Eli.
Oh,
because he is so on your mind, like you're so in love.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
it's so funny because I don't feel like I talk about him a lot.
Oh my God. I knew it was bad when you said his shit literally doesn't stink.
Oh, that's funny. Well, it's annoying. I wish I wish it did as bad as mine, so then I could like have something to tease him about. But
he probably does, but you just love him so much you can't even smell it.
No, that's impossible because he does a bunch of other things that are annoying to me that I am very, very quick to point out.
I don't.
Maybe is true love.
Yeah.
I'm going to owe you a whole bunch of money after this conversation.
You are. No, after all of them, because he's like on your mind, baby. I mean, your Google eyes. It's so funny.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
It's
I always
sweet.
think, I'm like, maybe I'll keep him around.
Right. Right. I'm on to you though, Sarah.
Who knows? But,
I love that you're like a little bit.
My whole point was, I was talking to my brothers about how I want to try this. And how in my mind I'm good. And my brother whispered to me, and he was like, yeah, because guess what? Skiing isn't that hard. So he was like, it's not that hard.
What?
And so I think maybe it is, because that's also my brother who's good at everything who's telling me that. So I don't know.
I'm sure you're good at it.
I might be, but going to something where you have your both feet strapped to one thing versus each foot moving independently can really...
I know, that's why it scares me, because that's when people like tear their ACL and all that stuff.
Oh my God, don't say that. My mom did that. I'm so
It's scary
scared.
as heck.
Oh.
But I'm sure you're good at it. And I know one thing we're both good at now, thanks to Green Chef, is cooking.
Absolutely.
Making delicious meals. We're real good at that.
And not wasting any food.
Yeah.
And saving money. And making better choices than, hitting up the old drive-thru on the way home. Because I'm like, I only have 20 minutes. Would I like to wait in this 20-minute line at my favorite drive-thru place? You know exactly which one I'm talking about, where the line is always 20-plus minutes.
We do.
Or would I like to spend that time, maybe even less, making up a delicious, healthy meal?
Yeah, it's no joke. Last night I made, it was called a beef tamari bowl. And
yum, I love any bowl.
It was phenomenal. The flavor was outstanding. We were so happy, and it was very easy, and it did take like 20 minutes. And all the ingredients came to my house with a recipe. What is so great about them, though, is that they have different kinds. Like you can get paleo or vegetarian, or like if you're on a special diet, it's really great for that. And they have a relationship with HelloFresh, who we also work with. So this is a great option for like, if you like those meal plans or specific dietary stuff, or if you want to try different versions. And they have a deal. Go to greenchef.com/braincandy60 and use code braincandy60 to get 60% off plus free shipping. That's greenchef.com/braincandy60. And then use our code braincandy60 to get 60% off plus free shipping. Delicious food and easy.
Yes.
And
so good.
All that jazz.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what do I want to talk to you about today that's not Eli?
You're goofy. I think it's sweet, Sarah.
I know. I'm so annoyed. He's so wonderful. This one is really funny. I read an article that is talking about how Marie Kondo was recently interviewed. Did you see this? About how she kind of accepts that what sparks joy for her now is maybe having some mess.
Yes. Do you think that this was like an authentic sort of epiphany, or do you feel like it was like, the tides are changing a bit and people are like, oh?
Maybe a little bit of both. Mm-hmm. I think I was so excited to talk to you about this because, anybody who... I think this happens to any sort of like pop psychology fad or like anything that's like a quick fix, like
or like for everybody. Everybody ought to do this, like a prescription.
Yes, yeah. For and in order for people to market something, to put their name on something, like have it be unique and theirs, it has to become very specialized. It has to become very like, you know, Marie Kondo's, and it's almost like rigid boundaries in a way.
Yeah.
In order for it to work as this thing that she's selling America, if not the world on, you know? You can't make a TV show about a lady who says, well, I don't know, sometimes you can be messy, if that, whatever.
Yes.
That doesn't make a Netflix show.
No.
So I think what happened was she had to stay within she in order to create the Marie Kondo brand, where there was like her or, I don't know, some team who did this. She maintained those rigid boundaries, and it was like, nope, you got to do this because that's part of the brand.
Yes.
And then as soon as it's been 10 years since she wrote that book.
Yeah.
As soon as that became like a household name, we all know, like, does this spark joy? That is a thing that's become part of the I don't know, like pop culture.
Yeah, man.
Whatever
she
it is.
Mainstream. And
yes,
everyone
totally
knows all about it. It has been a cultural shift. And
I think this is like if you were the workout guru who said do yoga. It's the only thing you want to do, yoga. And you or I don't know, some like fancy schmancy, some specific kind.
Yeah.
The only thing is like this kind. And then they interviewed you 20 years later after you've sold all your DVDs and people open up the studios. Probably like, yeah, sometimes I do this, sometimes I do that, and sometimes I go for a hike instead of doing yoga all day. Once you don't have to be in that.
Okay, so you lessen the rigidity of it because why? Because you can, or because that might broaden the appeal?
No, because you can.
Okay.
I think it's the instead when you were asking, like, is this like a response to what's going on, or is it like a cultural shift, or is this just an like aha moment? I think it's more of like a letting go of the facade, letting the mask down. Like, you know what I mean? Like being a little more authentic and.
Because her rules, I mean, the title of the book was The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. And I think that's part of why it was so appealing. It sounded so simple. All you have to do is tidy up. But then
and it's life-changing.
Yeah, and it's going to change your life. What a great promise.
Right?
But then once you really looked at the specifics of the book, she wanted people to not even have any kind of like shampoo bottles exposed in their bathroom because that's plastic and ugly. And you're supposed to like put it in a little caddy and bring it out every time you're going to shower. And I thought that was pretty extreme.
Yeah.
Even though the title sounded...
It's like these things almost have to be extreme.
Right.
And then...
I think you're onto something.
It's so perfect because anybody who has organized a drawer or maybe done, Marie Kondo tidying up light does feel like it's life-changing for those, like... I recently, oh my God, you know how I think I sent it to you. My favorite, Brunch with Babs, who did like a home car goo, like this stuff where you take Elmer's glue, mix it with I'm going to give you guys the recipe. Here it is. Bottle of Elmer's glue, half a teaspoon of baking soda, 1 to 2 tablespoons of contact solution. Mix. It'll make like this gacky sort of like goo, like car goo, like stuff
Putty.
Where you can clean up all the little crumb pieces in your car, all the crevices. I cleaned out my car. Like I spent hours like detailing it, like just really, I don't know. Eli was doing something like, oh God, see, I need to put a thing in the jar. God damn it. Damn it.
No.
And so annoying. And I cleaned out my whole car, which for anybody who owns a dog that is the opposite color of what the interior of their car is.
Yeah.
I had not cleaned out the interior of that car really cleaned it in years.
Yeah.
Like that.
Was it life-changing?
It was life-changing.
It felt like that,
I told my significant other.
She told someone.
I told somebody that that I needed to give them a tour of my newly refurbished 2016 vehicle. And he's like, do you really want to give me you want me to? I'm like, yes. Yep. Because remember what it was like before? He's like, oh, yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when
life-changing. So, it feels that way. But you're right. If you were to adapt all of those things, plus it's so hard. Those are all habits, too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think also that Marie Kondo probably changed some of her habits when she had children. And that's kind of what the article says. Like, I want to spend more of my time with my kids and my family. I think maybe those habits and those little routines that you have to do in order for every little thing to have its magic little home. Could you imagine trying to do that with 2-year-olds?
Right. And every time I would see her in like a magazine spread or something, she would include like where she keeps the toys. And it was like one of, those like horse sticks that's like got a horse head on the top.
Yeah, like a hobby horse.
Yeah, like one of those, but just stick, it's like propped up. And then like 2 trucks or something. And that was it. And it did feel like, what are we doing here?
Right. And maybe easier with one child, but I think she has 2 now. She's like it's like those memes where like the first child you're like, oh no, is this second child? Like,
yes.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, you can't because you still have the same amount of time in your day.
Yeah, but you can't.
It does. I think it raises an important point about balance and like priorities and all that jazz. Come on.
And like, yeah, and going all in and something being that, it just that was it. You said something when we talked about her. This is probably like our 3rd Marie Kondo update. Since we've been doing the show.
Okay.
You talked about her and you said that you became a little bit skeptical when in her book she talks about how the best kind of things for storage are. See, this is why Susie is like my like mother figure in my life. She like says these things and they become like Susieisms that like live inside my head.
Thank you.
So you said that in the book she said like the best thing are like old shoe boxes or old like boxes, like the iPhone boxes, those kind of things that you can then put in your little drawer, repurpose. And then she came out with a line, or the Marie Kondo brand came out with a line of storage items.
Right.
And you were like, that to me seems a little fishy because it goes against. So then I started thinking in my mind about the Marie Kondo brand and Marie Kondo being 2 different things.
Yeah, good point.
And how that's just how things are when you have a name like that.
Yeah, and to be honest, it would have been foolish for her to not come out with organizational products.
Totally.
And she did sort of say like, well, you can absolutely repurpose boxes and things that you already have, but some people prefer these other textiles or whatever. And she's right about that, but it did feel like a hypocrisy or at least a contradiction in her philosophy.
Yes. And so I think what we're seeing now is just a more authentic, realistic, version of what she really is.
Okay.
Who she really is.
I don't know. I feel a little skeptical still and think everything is, the motor behind everything is about, maintaining brand progress and money and revenue.
Okay. So you see this is still going. This is even part of that.
Yeah, I do. Because she didn't have to announce it.
You're right. And it does feel like it's everywhere. Or am I just that into organizational stuff on
Well, you probably do have a pretty hardcore algorithm in that regard. Because you've always been into like home edit and...
I do love
You love like organizational porn.
Yeah, it's like aspirational. And
yeah.
Like
oh my God, labels and rainbow colored and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's soothing. I get it.
It feels so good.
You know what else feels good? When I slip into my Rothy's.
Absolutely. My super comfy shoes. Always reliable and sustainable. And now there's something they keep doing good for the environment.
It's so true.
It really is.
I talk about it all the time. Rothy's are my absolute favorite shoe company, and you see them all the time on my social because they are washable. So I wear them and wear them and wear them. They never get gross. They never get dirty or stinky because you just wash them when you need to.
Let everyone out there be warned.
Yeah.
If I see you IRL and you're wearing Rothy's,
she gets very excited.
I get so excited, it's ridiculous. And now I see them everywhere. So like at the airport is the best place, which tells me,
well, they're comfy,
right? Mm-hmm. They're the perfect travel shoe. Every time I'm at the airport, I can spot at least one stylish traveler who's got like the matching bag set and like I'm like, oh.
Yeah, because they are super comfy. They're perfect for travel. They have dressier styles. They have sneakers. They have everything. They're always updating like the colors and prints. And you can get a deal. For stylish and comfortable shoes, shop Rothy's. Get $20 off your first purchase at rothys.com/braincandy. That's ROTHYS.com/braincandy. Made out of plastic bottles, these shoes are. Somehow still cute. I don't know.
Yes. Super cute.
Okay.
Love it. Okay. What else do I want to talk about? Yeah. Marie Kondo. Anything else we want to chat about on there?
Well, we'll see what happens. We'll probably have another update.
Yeah. It'll be our fourth Marie Kondo update.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what? You've been right in your, like, what your feelings have been so far.
Because I wouldn't be surprised if she makes, her next book is called like, the life-changing magic of balance. You know what I mean? Like, of
You're
just
so right.
moderation.
And it's been about enough to, and it's 10 years, the anniversary. You're so right. Ugh.
Because you know how we did, in book club, we did the book, what's it called? Untamed or whatever by Glennon Doyle.
Yes.
And this woman, this is like her third or fourth memoir.
Yes.
And I'm always like, how can you have that many memoirs? Like, how many lives have you led? And first it was like about her marriage. Then it was like they got a divorce and she hooked up with a lady. Now she's a lesbian. There was like 3 different stories. Yeah. And then
you're goddamn cheetah.
She just said on her podcast that she just talked about how she had an eating disorder. She just is getting over an eating disorder and recovery or whatever. And I'm like, I know what her next book's about. Her next memoir is about that. And it doesn't mean it's all not true. I'm just saying that, like, when you monetize your life, which we do,
right?
You commodified your personal life. That's a real blurry line between like content and like private stuff.
Right.
It's weird. Okay, go ahead.
Eli's really not even that great. I just go with him for.
She doesn't even really like him that much.
I'm just kidding.
It's all for the gram, baby. That's funny.
He just does cool shit, you know? He just needed somebody who would take me camping for the gram.
I'm on to you.
So funny. Oh, okay. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, okay. Well, this is like a whole thing to unpack. Did you read the article in the New Yorker called "What's the Matter with Men"?
No, I saw it. The title. I didn't read it yet.
Ooh. I'm seeing this theme pop up a lot. There was a book in there that I think I want to choose for the next book club. But because
wasn't the synopsis, as I remember it, it was sort of like we claim that it's about like the pressure of toxic masculinity, but it's really just being a person. Is that the gist?
Well, it's more talking about, I mean, a little bit, but it's also talking about how there really is this divide that we're seeing in women and men, especially in education. Oh. They like outnumber men like 2 to 1 in higher education. There are significant numbers of unemployed, well, really white men, not returning to the workforce despite being capable of having jobs. Then a significant portion of that. So it's kind of like breaking down why this is happening.
Okay.
Some of the maybe it's kind of like what we always talk about. Like there are like we're seeing this kind of like incel, this online community, this, what do they call it, manosphere, that is kind of steering these very impressionable men, young men, towards misogyny.
Totally.
And the article is talking about how they're dropping out of work during these prime working years, how, and there were a whole bunch of different theories as to why this could be, because, we don't really know for sure. One of the things that they even discussed in the article was video games contributing.
Okay.
That video games are becoming more realistic, that then are drawing people in and making it harder to escape that world. So, it's like, we've talked about this in our book club, I think, a bit, how we tend to focus on, boosting up women, but could we be kind of forgetting about what's happening to men? And then what's kind of the place where everybody's stuck is that some people are like, well, it's about time. Maybe we need a little bit of this to go in the other direction. And maybe this is what's going to then create more balance in places like jobs and in places like, higher ranking positions, because we don't have the men to fill those roles.
Okay, but
what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I guess, I don't know if you could even call that a silver lining, but I don't think that any genuine feminist or progressive person would argue that they wanted men to suffer so that women could advance. Like, right. I really wish all people just had opportunities and stuff. So to me, that's a tragedy if our boys and men are so lost that they have all this rage towards women and society and other white men towards other races. I don't know. How did we fail them? Do they think it's sort of that we didn't nurture them as parents, or what? Like,
it does talk a little bit about that. It talks about the effects of like broken homes, like dropout rates for, what does it say? In 2009, American high school students in the top 10% of their freshman class were twice as likely to be female. Boys, meanwhile, are at least twice as likely to be diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactive disorder, twice as likely to be suspended. Their dropout rates, too, are considerably high. Okay, no, this isn't the part. There's one part in this article that talks about the effect of having a single mother and on, I don't know where
I wonder why that would be just for boys, though.
I don't know. Those are some of the things that I was wondering. Like, here we go. The gender gap in school suspensions already large, more than double among children with single mothers.
Oh, children, not just boys.
Oh, the gender gap more than doubles in children with single mothers. So the gap, the difference between.
Why would that be?
Right.
That's a mystery to me because...
Yeah, it says... So there was this economist who wrote the book titled The Trouble with Boys, and it found that this economist found that boys raised outside of the traditional family with two biological parents present fared especially poor, with substantially worse behaviors in school and considerably lower skills in non-cognitive areas such as emotional sensitivity and persistence that increasingly matter in the workplace. So it's like maybe we are socially preparing girls to be better. I mean, in a way,
to
people
experience pain.
And we are not doing the same for boys. And they also talk about the changing and the workforce changing and how the kind of workers that are needed are not as physical, but we're still kind of treating our boys in a way where they're like supposed to interact in a very physical way with the world. And that's not really how things are now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I do feel like there's an element of we societally sold them a bill of goods by sort of teaching these guys that they were entitled to all sorts of things automatically. And then as society shifted and things were less automatic and that other people were getting a fair chance, they were like, what? This was my birthright. Didn't you see my penis? And so
absolutely,
they're furious about it. And
yes,
that is troubling to me. But it does feel like there's a confluence of all sorts of factors and variables.
So many. And how do you even point to one? And that's kind of what this article was. It was a really good one. It kind of went into all these different
considerations or whatever.
Yeah, things. And, you know, you hit the nail on the head because that's exactly how the article starts. It talks about like kind of these beliefs and like where they came from. And this like that there's an article book called The Second Sex that was published in 1949 that says, a quote from it says, women have always been man's dependent, if not his slave. The two sexes have never shared this world in equality. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of been, they put that as like, that's the idea that men grew up with. And then they have this, because they're confronted with like a very different reality when
expectations are the parent of depression, I feel like, and sadness, because if you expect something to be great or easy or whatever, and then it isn't, then you're sad. If you think it's going to be hard or, I don't know, painful, and then it's just regular, you're super stoked. So the expectation informs how you feel about it. You know what I mean?
And it's so reflected in everything that you see in movies, in like pop culture, in everything that they're consuming.
Mm-hmm. You feel it reinforces the bad stuff, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
It reinforces that belief and that way that expectation does not match reality.
Yeah. And that's infuriating if it's worse than you expected. I'll tell you what's better than I expected, and that is Ritual vitamins and protein powder.
Listen, in this future where there are going to be no men and women just run everything, we're really going to have all of our vitamins.
Yeah, let's get this sorted, everybody. Got to get Ritual. Peg, I think I told you, is now a subscriber to the protein powder. She loves it. She has it every morning because she needs more protein for her, whatever her medical stuff is going on. And she says it's super tasty, and she mixes it with all this stuff, and it's delish, and it can help you form lean muscle and support muscle recovery as well. And, well, your heart is a muscle, and so she needs help in that department, but they just taste wonderful. And the vitamins, as you know, are my favorite. I take them every day. I won't go without them. It is almost as if it's a ritual. Get it? Once you try Essential Protein, you won't want to go a day without it. Lucky for you, Ritual is offering our listeners 10% off during your first 3 months. Visit ritual.com/braincandy to start Ritual or add Essential for Women 18 plus to your subscription today. That's ritual.com/braincandy. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Sarah. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. That's exactly what you're supposed to do when we have important things to discuss like that. They keep our lights on and everything like that. So there was part of the article that offered some solutions or some...
what do you got?
Policies, I guess. Things that need to change.
Okay.
So there's an author... What the heck is his first name? His last name is Reeves. Richard V. Reeves. He's a British-American scholar of inequality and social mobility. And he has some... well, I'll see. You tell me what you think. So he says that this is his signature idea, that we need to redshirt boys and give them all a default extra year of kindergarten.
Okay. Because why?
To compensate for the slower rates of adolescent brain development, particularly in the prefrontal cortex, which controls decision making.
I mean, it does. You've heard this your whole life, that they mature slower, and we talked about that. I mean, okay, that's a fair idea.
And he wants to. He says that we need to foster pro-social masculinity for a post-feminist world, and he encourages more men to become nurses and teachers and expand paid leave, and then create more vocational high schools.
Okay, these are very practical ideas. It seems like we also need some maybe emotional.
Oh, that's a good point.
And
they didn't really talk about that.
Really?
That it seemed more like practical things and like the question of why, but I don't feel like the article did properly address. I mean, they talked about the mental health concerns with like higher suicide rates and well, they in the article referred to it as turning to drinking and addiction behaviors, like I think it said something like 2/3, or maybe it's 1/3. I'm not quite sure, of the men who are not working because of a disability are prescribed opioids.
Oh my goodness!
That could be linked to an opioid.
I just can't believe this, because haven't you ever had the experience where you're in tremendous pain because of some reason, and it is impossible to get like even one pill?
Suze, this is the difference between me and men and women. I'd share that story with you about what happened when my ex had surgery, and they were like, "Here are so many pills."
Yeah.
I was like, "You didn't even do an assessment."
Yeah,
I said that to the doctor. I was like, "You have no idea what his medical history. Did you do any assessment for a history of addiction?" I couldn't believe it. But then I know stories from women who are like, I can't get anything.
For real.
God forbid they're people of color.
Yeah. I mean, it's like impossible.
I mean, I can't get my ADHD medication right now, so I don't know what's going on.
Still,
Suze, they will not call me back. They will not return my call.
That is unacceptable.
I know.
You should pretend like you're a dude. Be like, hey.
I know. Hey. My regular voice is probably deep enough. I think I need to not change my regular voice at all. I'll just call like this. Hey.
Damn. Okay. Well, that is crazy. We are failing.
Yeah. Really interesting article. I just keep seeing. I do have hope for the future, but it feels like maybe this is because I'm I don't know, only seeing things that are. Like, I only see kids like Lincoln, and I only see children of my friends and people who, are teaching the right kind of things. And then I watched the documentary that you raved about, This Place Rules, and then I watched it again with Eli, and and I think about the things that those children are getting taught and how different that is. And so I don't know, but I do feel like. Just like the acceptance for boys wearing pink or boys wanting to, whatever it is,
I know,
is better than it used to be.
I hope so. I don't know if it is. I think there's a real divide there.
Yeah, it goes both ways. That's it.
Mm-hmm. It's like they're doubling down on one side,
right,
and then the other side's almost overcorrecting in certain ways. Yes. But my God. The consequences are huge.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what this does to higher education. I mean, it's all women in 2-1.
That's remarkable.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we have time for one more amazing story. And this is great because I will share my screen with you so you can see what this is. So first, let me give you a little bit of backstory. About, I don't know how many years ago this was. This was whenever I won the final with Jordan on Rivals 2. It's probably like 10 years ago or so.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on an airplane. We were flying back from Norway, and I was sitting next to this guy, and I was reading a book on quantum physics, and he was like, oh, that's really interesting that you are reading that. And he and I started talking, and he was telling me about his job and how he's a futurist, and he worked for Volkswagen. And I was so interested in that. I'm like, a futurist, that sounds so awesome. Like, what do you even do? And he said, I'm like, I probably said something like, oh, I bet you're inventing the cars of the future. And he looked at me with like the expression equivalent of patting me on the head, like, oh, you have no idea. And he's like, well, actually, what we're working on are like, we're thinking so far beyond what a car could do. And we're thinking of what materials can do. And he was kind of explaining to me of these concepts of like in the future having materials that can be whatever you want them to be, that instead of having one thing that's your car and then another thing that's your boat, it converts into it, and not like a transformer kind of thing, but more like the actual material melts down and then physically reforms to become something else. So that was like 10 years ago, and I always think of it as like one of the coolest conversations I've ever had, and I had it in the back of my mind that like in the future we're going to have these things that do this. Well, there's researchers they're in China and the United States that are working together, and they have now created a liquid metal robot that can mimic shape-shifting abilities. So they demonstrated the capabilities of this new material, and they transformed it into like a little Lego shaped guy and put him on one side of these like metal bars. And I'll show you the video of this material breaking down and becoming something else because it's so freaking cool. So here we go. And if you are on Patreon, you can see this video along with me. So here's our little like guy, and he's one material, and then it heats up, and then it just can go right through those bars like this is Terminator, and then will reform itself outside of the bars and remolds itself into whatever shape you want it to be.
And this is because of the heat is
heat, or the material that it's I think it's a gallium. I want to say that's the name of the metal. And then, I don't know, a bunch of other freaking scientific baddie shit that they do to it that can rearrange itself. And then they show how this material can like move where you want it to move. It can move through like mazes. And so they were saying what it could do is it could even little, tiny amounts of it could work as delivery systems for medication in the body. And they said it could work if you have, say, even a small object. This is like the start of the idea for these things. If you have an object in the body that's stuck, you can send this material into the body. It will like go get it and then pull it out. Like this is just the fact that this material can like remold itself. I feel like this is the start of exactly what that guy was talking about.
Whenever you read this stuff, is there any part of you that's sort of like, this is so optimistic? Like, I don't even think our kids are like, I feel like the world is going to end. Not the world, but human life, I should say. The world will be here.
Yeah.
Because I'm at that point where I'm like, oh, this is all going in the shitter.
I mean, I think what'll happen is this is going to sound super apocalyptic.
Yeah, whatever. That's what I'm saying.
But I think that there will be a significantly smaller population that does survive in some way, that lives, that has to then make use of we're creating the technology to then be able to
help
have
out the survivors
in a way.
Oh,
like,
God.
yeah, and I'm watching this amazing new show. I think everybody agrees with me when I say it's amazing. The Last of Us on HBO, that's about the fungus. And it's so cool because it's based on actual stuff. It's kind of like You know how my favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie is The Happening because it's about the plants that like are like, fuck this, I'm killing all of you. And I'm like, that could totally happen. So this is, and it could, because like the science says so. And this is the same kind of thing. There is this species of fungus that the only reason why that fungi cannot live inside of our body is because it can't live in higher than, I think it's a 94 degree temperature, and our bodies are like 98.6 or higher. Mm-hmm. So like we're too hot for fungus to grow inside of us.
Are.
But all we need is, we are. That was funny. All we need is the fungus to mutate and be able to withstand those amount of those temperatures, and then all fucking bets are off.
Oh, and that's man.
So in that show, there's, of course, the people who have like all died out, but there are people who are still living. So I think all this stuff, are we probably facing one of these, apocalyptic kind of situations? Yeah, but I do think that there will be some sort of future afterwards.
We still need robots.
We still need robots. And,
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because it is the truth that, how I always joke that like, wow, I didn't expect I didn't know I was going to have to work through the apocalypse. Like,
right? Exactly. It's going to be normal and it's going to be slow.
Yeah. Gradual.
That this is going to be gradual. Like, it's like that movie, that movie Contagion, I think, where it just shows you like, it's like 10 years that,
right.
And then by that time it's like, and look at how fast shit happens. Even on this podcast, like I love our show Things We Got Wrong, because we go back and listen. We did an episode about conspiracies where Susie was like, aliens, yeah, right. And then on our on our Things We Got Wrong, she's like, okay, well, so turns out I was wrong about, aliens. That's kind of a big one.
Yeah. And it's only been even 7 in just years. A few years, some things that were kind of far-fetched have become just everybody accepts as true.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so I guess this is good news. Are we supposed to think this is good news about this shapeshifter?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think it's cool. It's cool.
We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, and I think when you combine a whole bunch of one of the cool things about how they even discovered this to begin with, what inspired this, is the sea cucumber. The sea cucumber's ability to like mold its body and create into different forms.
Those cukes are weird.
Totally weird. So I think this is kind of what we do is we are looking in nature for these answers, and the biologists and the nature people are connecting, like they're inspiring the like robot people and
the robot people.
Yeah, it just makes for a really cool future with a lot of possibilities, and I'm like fucking into it.
I love how you remain optimistic after all this time.
Totally.
That's great. It's a good coping strategy.
It is. And, you just got to look for the little things. You got to, like, get excited about the little stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
And I also think it kind of connects to what you were saying about expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And how if you can kind of... It's the unimaginable or the imaginable. I always get it wrong. Which is it?
Well, her book is called Imaginable.
Okay, Imaginable. Yeah. And I think it's like creating... It's like... saying that there's a whole bunch of stuff that
stop limiting the parameters of what is possible. All right. I like the optimism. Good work, Sarah.
And I didn't mention Eli one time in that whole segment.
I'm so proud of you. Wow, I never know what's going to sort of burrow into your brain. Why do you think that affected
things
you?
That I don't realize that I'm doing. That because they're
I can see
that. I don't notice. Like when people remember when not everybody, it was probably like a person who told me that I say and then I couldn't get that out of my head for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, because we pride ourselves on being self-aware. So then if someone draws something to your attention that you didn't notice, then it kind of freaks you out.
What? And I don't, and because other people tell me that I never talk, I just don't talk about my relationship in the same way. And my friend Jessie was like, "How's Eli?" And I'm like, He's fine.
Well, yeah, it's not as if you're saying like, I need to talk to you about Eli or something.
Got it.
It's just always like, it's just a part of the context of every story because you guys are together all the time.
I know.
And
you better get out here fast so I can get some new friends to hang again.
I'm sure
material.
He would say that you bring me up all the time or something. Like he might have the reverse where it's like, Susie, shut up about Susie. Who knows? You know?
Maybe.
Because we're who you talk to the most or something.
Yes. Well, Susie says it goes a little bit something like that.
Yeah, but I just think it's so funny because most stuff I say to you, I don't think really has that kind of effect. But like, I can see it immediately, like washes over your face, and I'm like, oh no, I'm not being critical. It's cute. It's nice.
No, it's the awareness. It's the awareness.
All right, let's wind it down. We'll work on our one-hit wonder, you guys, or you people.
Oh, yep. If you have any like themes you'd like us to do, that Call Me Maybe song did really well. Or no, what was that? Friday.
Oh my God. Let's hope it's better than that. That was
both of them
tragic.
They had huge careers.
And then Marie Kondo is interesting, and we'll see what happens with her.
Keep it messy.
Yeah. And we'll see if my prediction is right that like her next, whatever is the next thing coming out will be about something about moderation or balance or something.
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think you're so smart with that. That's definitely what it is.
We'll see.
Everybody's, it was either in every news source because it's so different than what you expect from her, or it's in every news source because this is part of a strategic launch of some other book or something like that.
Because the people that I saw sharing it were like moms who appreciated then having permission to not be perfect.
Okay.
To have things out of place sometimes because the priority ought to be time with your kids and being present with them.
It's gonna, knowing what to tidy up and what to let go.
Yes.
Like that.
Yes. Yeah, it's genius.
The magic art of balance. Yep.
What is the matter with men? We do not know.
We don't know. Nobody knows.
Things.
The article itself doesn't even know, but read it. It's a good one.
Yeah, I'm going to read that.
It's not beyond a paywall, I don't think it is, if you are interested. And
Sarah met a friend from the future who...
Yeah.
Was right about
robots are going to be taking things out of our bodies. If you ever swallow anything you're not.
But don't worry, it's okay. It's good news according to Sarah.
Yeah, totally good news. This is the future, guys. Trust me. Check out that video.
Yeah, be sure to subscribe. Leave us a 5-star review. We might read it on the show, and check out our merch. We do that. Maybe you could have this mug as well,
or this mug.
Brain Candy Podcast. Hello.
Not this actual mug. I need it.
No, I'm not going to sit. Mine has lipstick on it. You wouldn't want it.
Yeah, you don't want that one. You want your own.
We'll see you next time, everybody.
Bye.